nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you again, Meredith and Carlton, for your time. This is such a glorious series, and it has so much source material to draw upon. Beginning with you, Meredith, now that with the new season approaching, you have all this Joe Hill's wonderful material. Does the job, I don't want to say the job become easier, but how does the path of a new season change from when you first start out to continuing the story along? Is it as simple as, okay, we'll just pick up the next book and plan out our next season? How does the job change now as you go further and further into the story?
I mean, I think it's an intuitive process. I won't say it's easier or harder. I mean, we did cover a lot of the kind of major plot points of the comics in season one. So it did allow us this opportunity to be able to tell new stories, original stories moving forward, while also still, looking at the comics and saying, oh, this is a beat that we didn't use. Do we want to find a place for that? And so some of our favorite moments from the comics will still show up in seasons 2 and seasons 3. But we see it as an opportunity to be able to tell, original stories with these characters, and always with the blessing of Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. And, they're giving notes on scripts and all of that. So they're still very much a part of the process. But so I wouldn't say it's easier or harder, but we love the opportunity to be able to tell new stories with the characters.
Absolutely. With Carlton, so much of when comic books are adapted, people love and they get obsessed with Easter eggs and hidden meanings and all of these things in the different episodes. But with this show, so much of the mysteriousness of it, that's probably not a word, is the keys themselves and what the keys can do and trying to figure out those things. Does that make it, is it there's still an intention to even hide more messages into the show for fans to attach to and dissect, in addition to the keys and their meanings, and telling the full stories of what those items possess for the members of the household?
I mean, not that much. I mean, there are a few Easter eggs here and there, but that's not our main goal. Our goal is really to feed the audience this mythology, and over the course of the second season and even into the third season, you really come away with an understanding of why do these keys exist, where did they come from, what is their history, and most importantly, what role do our kids and our current Locke family, what is their role with these keys? Their season 2 is really exploring this issue of these kids are now, they know about the keys. They understand they're the sort of the protectors, the keepers of these keys, and what are the costs and consequences of that for them? And where is this all going to go, and what's going to happen? And those are kinds of the questions that we're interested in. And yeah, well, there's a little something hidden here and there for everybody, but not as much as in some shows.
All of the characters have, it's fascinating to see people doing dual roles and of the same person. Just the nuances is when you have the real version versus a not real version. When you look at your talented cast, Meredith, what are you most proud of when you see them as they fully bring this story to life?
I mean, I'm so proud of how much they've evolved, especially, I think coming to the second season, I think you feel that they are much more comfortable in their characters. And because they've had the opportunity to live with them for 10 episodes. So now when you meet them in season 2, I think that there's just a seamlessness to it, and they're just much more comfortable. And also, when the cameras stop rolling, they are all very, very close. Particularly, the Locke siblings, the Locke family, and I think that translates on screen, that you really feel that unit, because that really exists off screen. It's particularly in the last year and a half, when everyone had to be a bit bubbled, they really kind of came together even closer. So I'm really proud of the way that our cast has evolved in that way, and how comfortable that they have gotten in their own characters.
Well, I'm super excited I've only got a chance to see about 3 of the new episodes, so I'm excited to see the rest and talk about it in social. Thank you so much, you guys, for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a great season.
Awesome. Thank
very
you.
much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time to both of you. Woo, things are heating up at the old manor there. More keys to find, more things to figure out. Beginning with you, Connor, as we've seen you grow from season 1 to now, it's gone from reluctance to now they've settled in this role of being guardians of these keys. Now, amongst the siblings, how do you think the relationship has changed the most, if at all, from your own move from your character's move from reluctance to now being accepting it?
When we meet Tyler at the beginning of season 1, he's going through a lot. He's carrying a lot. He is by far of the 3 siblings the most wary of the keys. He really is suspicious. He is always the one being like, guys, we should really slow down. And it creates a lot of tension between him and his sister, especially. And a lot of that is sort of coming out of this broader sense of guilt and loss that he has about what happened with his dad. And he's just not, he feels really resentful about having to step in and fill in his dad's shoes and protect his siblings. And it doesn't come naturally. And he really, really is bitter about it. And the nicest thing about season 2 is that he's let a lot of that, he's worked through a lot of that. And he feels much more settled, like you said, and much more relaxed. And because of that, he's able to, in a weird way, step into that same role of being an older brother and being a little bit of a father figure and being the one who takes responsibility, but naturally and comfortably and happily and without it weighing on him like it did in season 1. So that to me is a really satisfying transformation in Tyler between the seasons.
For sure. And still more room to evolve as they all become older and deepen their relationship and what happens in there. Darby, over to you with Nina. Again, the dynamic changes. We see a father is lost, a husband is lost when we first meet this family. And now you have these kids that have stepped into responsibility in a sense in their own ways. How does the dynamic between the mom changes from supporting what they've got going on, or just the relationship between Nina and all of the Locke children?
Well, in the beginning of season 2 is very similar to the end of season 1, and that you see the family connected. You see Nina Locke connected to her. She feels close to her kids. She's happy that they're thriving in Matheson and at their schools, and that they seem to have found a nice footing after their father's death. And although Nina's not done grieving, it sort of feels like she's sort of been able to get through the worst of it and sort of put it into, a box or something. It's not the forefront anymore. As the show goes along, as the season goes along, Nina meets somebody. She meets, has a new man in her life, and yet the grief isn't gone. It's something that is still sort of in the undercurrent. It was really fun to play, meeting someone and moving on, but yet not moving on, playing the two. And then as the kids have more responsibility, ask deeper questions, are challenged by their nemesis in a bigger way, Dodge, they obviously become more stressed and more distracted. And although Nina can't see the magic, she senses this sort of lack of connection with them, and she doesn't maybe necessarily know why. And some of the old stuff from season 1 of isolation and grief and maybe not being a good mother comes up again, yet it comes up in a new way. Something I appreciate about the second season. It's new and it's different and it's deeper, and the whole show is I'd say it's got higher stakes, and there's bigger action and larger, like more powerful emotions.
Absolutely. I wish I could have one of each of the keys, like to make a holiday tree. That'd be kind of cool.
It's a good idea.
Me too.
We should get on that.
See, there you go. Well, I thank you both for your time. Have a wonderful upcoming season. I can't wait to see people see the cliffhangers start to play themselves out. That's going to be really
Yeah.
cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Sandra.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Oh, Griffin and Hallea, boy, 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 you guys put us through it. We're excited to see where we're going to land with the both of you. So I love that the two of you are paired. Griffin, beginning with you, Gabe, boy, the truth manifests itself and everybody's up in arms. Is it fun when you're part of a big cliffhanger thing and you can watch all the chaos that ensues among fandom when everyone gets to see what you are? What's that experience like? Or do you even pay attention to things like that?
I totally do. I love hearing theories more than anything. Whenever fans have something and then I'm like, you're not quite there. And I always wait, I want to hear someone guess it right. But for me, I love living in the suspense. I don't even know what happens. So it's a waiting game for me too, And when we did season 1, I knew from the very beginning that I was playing a bad guy. And no one else knew. I thought it was common knowledge. But when I found that out, I purposefully didn't even tell my parents, and then I went away from my home for 8 months or so to film that season. Every day they would, call and check in, see what I was up to. And I would not let them know. And then finally came the night, the premiere of season 1, where my parents could finally see what I was up to and maybe learn some spoilers. And someone ruined it for me, and they told them like the second they got. It was actually Jesse who plays Doug on the show.
Good intentions, but didn't realize he didn't tell them.
Yeah, but I love living in the suspense of people not knowing things, even if I don't know it. It just kind of makes the payoff even better.
For you, same thing. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know we have an idea, we've seen a few little silver darts fly out and all of those things. The same for you, living in the suspense, seeing the theories. Do you tune into it? And has there anybody that that you corrected that didn't have it right and you were like, I'll just tell you a little bit
about the ending of season 1?
Yes. Like any of your friends?
I hope not. We signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just kidding. I didn't ask that. But
my mom didn't know for a really long, I didn't tell my family. My dad didn't know, and they all kind of freaked out when they watched it. So it's been really exciting to get into it because the pandemic happened a month after the show came out. So I haven't been able to really chat with a lot of my friends or my community in Toronto about the show coming out. And now I'm starting to see them again. And they're like, oh my God, that thing that happened at the end. And if I'm with a friend who hasn't watched the whole thing yet, and some of my friends haven't, they want to watch 1 and 2 back to back. I'd be like, no, don't tell them, because it's huge and you can't get away from it, right? So if anyone hasn't watched the first season, get on it. It's time. You're gonna get some spoilers, whether you like it or not.
It is time. You're only a year late, but we'll forgive you.
Yeah.
Hop on, watch season 1.
Yeah.
With a series like this, there's so much fun with the mystery and the keys. It gives us something different to focus on instead of other adaptations where it's all about the Easter eggs. With this, it's all about the keys, what they can do, where they can be found, and it's very, very intriguing. When you go back, Griffin, have you ever gone back and watched the first season? How much of yourself do you watch back to get ready for the upcoming season?
Not much, honestly. I don't love watching myself. I find it strange. It's like looking in a mirror, but seeing someone completely different. It's just kind of off-putting for me. So I try and watch myself as little as possible. Although I will say, when projects like this, like Locke and Key season 2 is going to come out in a week, and obviously I'm going to watch it because I'm a fan of the show too. I love watching. Luckily, I love watching the stuff that I'm in. I just hate watching myself. But I did do a quick recap watch of season 1 right before we went into filming for season 2, just to become reaccustomed with the tones and kind of shake some of the dust off of me and Gabe's character.
Well, no dust gathering or moss or anything of that sort gathering on you guys this season. So excited to see the rest of it. Thank you so much for your time and have a great, great season.
You as
Thank you
well.
so
Thank
much.
you
Back
so
at you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeandra.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.